Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Are you ready? Everybody, it's Jeff. Hope you're having a great day, and we had nice weather. We had nice weather here in Maine, sunny, not even that cold. Even went and had my truck washed. Really nice out. They're having basketball tournaments in the area, so there's a lot of activity. You know, in the stores and the restaurants and stuff as they do these playoffs and shit. I'm not much into sports, but it's hard not to know something's going on when it's when it's sports related, you know. So today's been kind of a tough day for a lot of Democrats and Americans, I guess, because Trump has, basically shown that he's, all on the side of Putin. And, of course, we saw this yesterday or the day before when he decided to have talks with Putin about ending the war in Ukraine, but excluding Zelensky from the conversation, which is very bizarre. But I have a video here. Ben Mysalis has got a video here. He wants to discuss this, so let's go to the video here and then we'll come back. Okay.
Donald Trump is having a meltdown this morning as Ukrainian President Zelensky is standing up to Donald Trump and not submitting. Donald Trump making this post on his social media platform, calling Zelensky, quote, a dictator who better move fast or he is not going to have a country left. Donald Trump threatening Zelensky and Ukraine, just outright overt threats on social media. Let me read for you this entire post that Donald Trump made this morning. He goes, think of it, a modestly successful comedian, Volodymyr Zelensky, talked the United States of America into spending $350 billion to go into war that couldn't be won, that never had to start, but a war that he, without the U.S. and, quote, Trump, will never be able to settle. Just pause right there. What a despicable, dastardly thing to say right there, as though Zelensky scammed the U.S. No, Donald. Russia unlawfully invaded Ukraine, and Russia and Putin want to take over Europe, and they also want to crush the United States. I know you're Putin's puppet, but Putin and Russia want to destroy the United States of America and all of Europe, and we do not want to be part of Russia, unlike you. Trump goes on to say, the United States has spent $200 billion more than Europe, and Europe's money is guaranteed, while the United States will get nothing back. Pause right there. We'll get nothing back. Do you understand the United States' place in the world? Also, Donald Trump's numbers are never accurate. Why didn't sleepy Joe Biden demand equalization in that this war is far more important to Europe than it is to us? We have a big, beautiful ocean as separation. On top of this, Zelensky admits that half of the money we sent him is, quote, missing. Pause right there. There's a reason earlier today that Zelensky said that Donald Trump is literally living in Russian disinformation echo chambers. And by the way, I think Zelensky is being diplomatic there. Donald Trump is the Russian disinformation echo chamber as the main purveyor and spreader of these lies that are all lies. Zelensky never said that at all. But let me keep on reading. It goes on to say, He refuses to have elections, is very low in Ukrainian polls, and the only thing he was good at was playing Biden, quote, like a fiddle. Just pause right there. His polling number is lower than it was at the start of the war. Zelensky still polls above 50%. Donald Trump yesterday during a press conference while Trump was vacationing at Mar-a-Lago, Trump said Zelensky's approval rating was 4%. Which is entirely false. Also, the talking point that Ukraine needs to hold elections before there is any negotiations or peace talks to happen. That is a Russia talking point as well. Donald Trump just taking the Russia talking point directly from Vladimir Putin. He goes on top of this, and then he says, a dictator without elections, Zelensky better move fast, or he's not going to have a country left. In the meantime, we are successfully negotiating an end to the war with Russia, something all admit only, quote, Trump and the Trump administration can do. And he randomly capitalizes Trump and puts it in quotes because he's a sick, disgusting, psychopathic, malignant narcissist who refers to himself like that. Biden never tried, which is false. Europe has failed to bring peace, and Zelensky probably wants to keep the, quote, gravy train going. I love Ukraine, but Zelensky has done a terrible job. His country is shattered and millions have unnecessarily died. And so it continues. What a traitorous and despicable statement this morning to be made by the leader of the United States. Shame on Donald Trump and all of you spineless, cowardly Republicans who went there to Munich, who shook Zelensky's hand and said, we've got your back, while still being complicit and supporting this wacko authoritarian wannabe regime here, authoritarian regime that looks up to Putin here in the United States. Let me just share with you what Zelensky said over the past 24 to 48 hours when he was asked why he didn't sign a contract that the Trump administration put in front of him without any security guarantees at all, demanding that Zelensky provide all of the Ukrainian rare earth materials and minerals to the United States with no guarantees in return. Just sign on the dotted line, Zelensky. What Donald Trump was trying to do was a shakedown so Trump and Putin can split the plunders of Ukraine and create a Russia-centric world order. Here's what Putin said. Let's play it.
The problem with what they presented. What was the issue with what the Americans showed you yesterday?
It's not in our interest today. Not in interest of sovereign Ukraine. I'm just a president. I'm a manager. And after my term, there will be another manager. And these resources, this is not mine, of our people. And I'm a guarantor that these resources will have our children with all partners. Please make profits, make business, is open for your companies. In some cases, exclusive to your players. We are strategic partner, and that's why we trust Americans, American people, and some European countries who helped a lot. It's about it, but it's not mine. I'm not take, give. It's very serious things. Okay.
And by the way, remember what Donald Trump said while he was campaigning? Do you remember when he said that he would end the war before he even took office? Because he says he knows Zelensky well and he would be able to resolve the situation in 24 hours. He said even before he took office during the transition, he'd be able to accomplish it. Well, I've got the receipts. Let's play that clip.
End the war in Ukraine in 24 hours.
Yes, I
How would you do that?
I know Zelensky very well.
I'll end that war between those two countries in 24 hours It won't even take that.
I mean, but by the way, Donald Trump lies about everything. I mean, here's the video of him saying that he was going to, well, I'll just do this side by side here. Okay. Of Trump saying that he was going to bring down prices on day one. Prices were going down under former President Biden, and now the prices are going back up. Inflation is back, and it's surging under Donald Trump because of his reckless economic policies that have hit America very, very quickly. Here, play this clip.
Starting the day I take the oath of office, I will rapidly drive prices down, and we will make America affordable again. We're going to make it affordable again.
Yeah. And inflation is back. I'm only here for 2.5 weeks.
That was January.
Inflation is back.
For a week.
No, think of it. Inflation's back. And they said, oh, Trump, I had nothing to do with it.
In addition to that post about Zelensky, Donald Trump then posted fact sheet. President Donald J. Trump reins in independent agencies to restore a government that answers to the American people. What Donald Trump is referring to is he signed an authoritarian, unlawful executive order yesterday while vacationing as well in Palm Beach. And according to this executive order, the only person who can tell an agency what the law is, it's not judges, it's not the agency's own expertise, that Donald Trump declares whatever the law is for all agencies, and that he has the direct control, and that everybody, whether you're the SEC, whether you're the FCC, whether you're the FEC, whether you're the FTC, whatever the agency is, you now report directly to the Office of Management and Budget, Russ Vought, the author of Project 2025, who reports directly to Donald Trump. These agencies in the past had been independent agencies that pursue their independent policies. But now Trump is saying it all goes through me. I say what the SEC does. I say what the FEC does. I say what everything does. Donald Trump is an authoritarian. Here, play this clip.
Lastly, we have another executive order that President Trump signed relating to independent agencies. This executive order would establish important oversight functions in the Office of Management and Budget and its subsidiary office, OIRA, supervising independent agencies and many of their actions, and also reestablishes the longstanding norm that only the president or the attorney general can speak for the United States when stating an opinion as to what the law is.
Thank you very much, Will. That was the primary purpose of this conference.
Just so you can see this executive order for yourself, it's called Ensuring Accountability for All Agencies. And if you read it, it goes on to say that it says that in order to approve administration of the executive branch and to increase regulatory officials' accountability to the American people, it shall be the policy of the executive branch to ensure presidential supervision and control of the entire executive branch. Moreover, all executive departments and agencies, including so-called independent agencies, shall submit for review all proposed and final significant regulatory actions to the Office of Information Regulatory Affairs within the Executive Office of the President before publication. The so-called, he calls them so-called independent agencies. Also, if you look at Section 7, Trump's new executive order instructs federal employees to ignore the judiciary's interpretation of the law and follow his instead. Meanwhile, you have DOJ. It looks like they're changing the numbers where they're claiming fraud exists. So yesterday they claimed that they found $8 billion in fraud, but when you actually looked at this specific company's government contract, it didn't say 8 billion. It actually said 8 million, but DOJ said that they saved 8 billion. And then they changed the numbers, it looks like, in the computer system to have it be reflective of 8 billion. I actually reached out to that company directly, and the company told me that it was 8 million, a ceiling of 8 million, not 8 billion, as DOJ had said. And then we're also learning that Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem warned all of her employees that they would be getting polygraph tests to crack down on leaks that agency officials say have foiled immigration raids. All polygraphs must include questions on unauthorized communication with media and nonprofits. Ellen Gilmer got that scoop right there. Great work, Ellen. That's what we got for you right now. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 5 million subscribers.
Welcome back now. I don't know, but I think that you know, when Trump was out there telling people that Joe Biden essentially kept the gravy train going on for years after, you know, when this attack started in Ukraine, I don't see how anybody's going to believe that. I mean, what gravy is he talking about? Who's the gravy? Where, you know what I'm saying? And where is it going? Nobody was benefiting at all from this. Okay. Yeah, I mean, because we didn't send no fucking troops over there. All right. We gave them some weapons, you know, not some high grade shit mostly, but it was just, you know, bullets and some rockets, maybe some drones. I mean, but they were getting some of that from other countries too. Okay, so who's the gravy train? You know, who was making all this shit? You know, and the press lets them say that, and they never press them and ask them, well, what do you mean by that? Who was making money? Of course, he's not going to say, because he doesn't know. He's just making shit up. Okay, that's what he does, and he does well at. And the thing that, you know, he trying to blame Biden for not stopping the war. You know, he did try to stop the war, but you know what? Putin was unyielding. He was unyielding. He wasn't going to listen to anybody to tell him to stop this fucking mess, okay? Any more than Netanyahu wanted to listen to Biden about trying to stop what he was doing over there, okay? So you had two people during the Biden administration who simply wanted to have their wars, okay? They wanted their wars, and they didn't care what the United States said. So don't tell me that Biden didn't try. He did try. Okay, he tried, but guess what? They weren't listening to him. So what? I mean, if you're going to stand at a locked door and just keep knocking on it till your knuckles are bloody, what good is it going to do when you got some asshole down the corridor that says, "Oh, you can't even get in that door"? And the fact that Trump says, "Well, in 24 hours, you know, I can end this war in Ukraine." 24 hours? No. What he means by that is that, you know, he knows that, you know, because Putin and him are buddies, right? They got to be. Putin's going to, now that Trump is president, you know, he can really bring in some goodies there for Putin just to have him stop this shit. And, of course, Zelensky's pissed off because he's not been invited to any of these discussions. You know, it's like, you know, people bidding on your property behind your back and not telling you that, oh, it was sold to somebody. Okay? I mean, Ukraine's a sovereign nation. Nobody owns the fucking right to dictate what's going to happen to that country without that country's participation. Okay, what if Russia and China started bidding on each other on buying the United States? Okay, and all of a sudden it was sold, and we're told, okay, well, the United States doesn't belong to you anymore. Now it's ours. Do you think the United States government would sit idle for that? Of course not. So, you know, Zelensky is right to say, fuck you to Trump, fuck you to Putin. We're not stopping anything until we're invited into these conversations. If you want us to make deals, negotiate, or something like that for peace, then call me. Don't call Trump. Don't call the United States. They're not the ones that we're fighting. It's Putin. And if Putin isn't going to talk to Zelensky, then guess what? There really is no heart behind having this peace. Because Putin is only looking for one thing, and he wants everything. Okay? He wants everything. And even if by, you know, some bizarre, happening that Trump manages to make some kind of agreement with Putin over this, do you think Zelensky's going to honor it? If he's the man I think he is, he's gonna say no. We're not honoring a fucking thing. So again, this is what happens if you don't invite him into the discussion, because if he ain't there, he's never going to agree to whatever fucking agreement that Trump and Putin put together. So the war goes on. So Trump saying, "Oh, I can stop the war in 24 hours." Well, you might be able to if you invite Zelensky into the conversation. But if you're only going to talk to Putin and leave him out, guess what? That war is still going to go on. Okay? That war is still going to go on. And the only way it's going to stop is if the United States and Russia team up to go into Ukraine together. And guess what that's going to do here at home to the people here who have been supporting Ukraine all along? You want to see a fucking revolt in the streets, people? Okay, that's the way to do it. Trump's going to be fighting a war on two fronts if he tries to do this shit, you know, in this pig-headed fashion. So, you know, I don't see Trump getting anything done without the approval of the president of Ukraine. Okay, I don't see that happening. 24 hours be damned. He's already been president for 3.5 weeks, and he still hadn't stopped anything yet. Okay, he's been doing all these other things around it, renaming bodies of water and claiming he wants to make Canada a state. Okay, he's been doing all this other bullshit smokescreen crap. Okay. But the real issues are still out there, and they're still waiting to be dealt with, which he hasn't done yet. Inflation is back again and with a roar. Everything's going back up in prices again. Okay, oh, I was going to take care of that. No, he didn't do that either. Just like the first time he was president. How many things did he say he was going to do when he ran for president? And how many things did he get done when he actually became president? Only one. Tax breaks for the rich. That was it. He didn't build his wall. He didn't do all that other shit. You know, he started shit with China with his trade war, and that ended badly for us. Okay, he didn't accomplish anything. He's not going to accomplish anything now. All he's doing is tearing up the game board and making a new game is what he's doing. That's not accomplishing anything. That's just saying I'm getting rid of all the problems, you know, forthwith, and I'm going to create all new ones. You know, that's basically all he's doing. And that's not going to solve, and that's not going to make a presidency that Republicans or even MAGA can be proud of, okay? Because all the people are going to see and reflect on is all his mistakes and all the things that he did that made matters worse. And how many people were left in the cold? How many people were left to die in the hospitals? Okay, how many people lost everything? That's all that's going to be left is the body count. Just like the last time. We're still counting the bodies of the people that he sent to death because he was telling them not to take care of themselves, not to get vaccinated, not to wear a mask, not to do any of these things that the CDC was begging us to do. Okay? That's all you can do with Trump is body counts. Okay? This is what MAGA voted for. Okay, this is what they want. This is their America. Remember these times, people, because the next time when somebody on the right wing wants to run for president and they start filling your head with bullshit, remember these days and say, am I dumb enough to fall for that shit again? Okay, because the first time it was shame on Trump. This time it's shame on you. Let's go to a commercial break.
I'm Alex Curtis. I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Roxy Sugar, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins. I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me.
Me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you. Original.
Watching the power grab and illegality going on in Washington, it's easy to feel helpless, like there's nothing you can do. Don't believe it. Every state has laws protecting your data online. The penalties for violation are civil and criminal. Elon Musk and his tech bros are not above the law, and a corrupt president has no ability to pardon state crimes.
Elon Musk has gained access to sensitive personal data on millions of Americans, including social security numbers and bank information. President Trump says he wants Musk to go even further.
Take action. Contact your state's Consumer Protection Agency. Contact your state attorney general. If your social security data has been illegally accessed, you have rights. No one elected Elon Musk. No one elected the tech bros following his orders. They have no special status under the law. You have rights. Use them. Don't let the bastards get away with it.
Did you know that baking soda and ice cold water is the crucial secret to reach firmness? Just go to the kitchen and do this before going to bed.
I never stopped to think about that.
Exactly. It's simple if you think about it. There's no miracle. The only thing that makes a man firm is increasing blood flow to that area.
That's what the famous blue pills do, right?
Yes, but they do it by dilating the veins. That's why they don't solve the problem permanently. There's only one way to permanently fix this problem without relying on pills, prescriptions, pumps, or exercises, and that's by clearing out the veins that are clogged with plaques. That's why the Indian doctor is getting so popular in the media. He discovered an Indian bull trick that can clear out more than 93% of the plaques. This brings 20 times more blood flow to the area for men. That's why this trick is so effective. A top research team at Johns Hopkins University investigated and confirmed that this trick works for any man, regardless of age. There are already over 62,000 men in America alone who have permanently reversed the problem.
When I saw that I could get firm again without taking any pills, I couldn't believe it. It had been years since I was able to perform.
For over 6 years, I couldn't stay firm. My marriage was terrible, and my wife left me, and we got divorced. That's when I found the Indian bull trick recipe, and I still can't believe I'm firmer than when I was 18. Now I'm dating a woman 20 years younger than me, and she's very satisfied with my performance.
That's incredible.
I told you it's something innovative, and it's been proven to work for any man. I'll leave the link to the free class here for anyone who wants to see it. So, click the button below and watch the free video with the full recipe.
But why isn't anyone talking about this in the media?
This trick was recently discovered, and since it was found, blue pill sales have dropped by over 60% in India. The industry is very worried that this natural trick will become popular in America. That's why they're doing everything they can to keep it from being publicized. This free class has already been taken down twice, and it's close to being taken down for the 3rd time. And this time, it looks like it will be permanent. So this could be the last chance for those who need to see this information. Click the button below and watch the free class with the complete step-by-step guide.
Some people have a deep, abiding respect for the natural beauty that was once this country. And some people don't. People start pollution. People can stop it. Write for Pollution Booklet, Box 1771, Radio City Station, New York.
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it. It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
Motherfuckers like you! What the fuck you in like that? Like that? What do you think this shit is?
Okay, welcome back, everybody. All right, So, I have another video here from the iHip girls, and as usual, they have a very emotional point of view they need to discuss with people online. So let's go to their show here, their video, and then we'll discuss that on the other side.
Fitting around and call a spade. Trump and his administration are Russian assets. There's no question about it. He spouts Russian propaganda on the international stage. He is bending the knee to Vladimir Putin. He is thumbing his nose at NATO. And what's so remarkable and what's so breathtaking is that many lifelong Republicans are in Vladimir Putin's camp. Vladimir Putin, former KGB agent, has played the long game with his Russian propaganda, and he has converted the national security Reagan, Bush, Republicans to be pro-Russian. Watch this complete lie.
It's going very well. But today I heard, oh, well, we weren't invited. Well, you've been there for 3 years. You should have ended it 3 years. You should have never started it. You could have made a deal. I could have made a deal for Ukraine that would have given them almost all of the land, everything, almost all of the land, and no people would have been killed, and no city would have been demolished, and not one dome would have been knocked down.
All right, let me just make this crystal clear. Vladimir Putin and Russia started the war. Vladimir Putin is a war criminal. He is a murderer. He has charges pending in the ICC. His number one goal is to dismantle American democracy. It has been his goal since the late 80s. All that has to be done for this war to end is for Putin to end it. Right. Ukraine is a sovereign nation.
You know, it's like, it echoes for me, you know, Trump saying, well, we want Canada to be a 51st state. Like, Canada is a country. They are a sovereign nation. Ukraine is a sovereign nation. And I just sit back, and I was going to sleep last night and I thought, can you believe that Fox News and the national security Republicans are running around leaving NATO for Vladimir Putin? It is mind-boggling. And for him to sit up there and spout Russian propaganda, and nobody on the Republican side, like the Mitch McConnells, the Lindsey Grahams, the people who have always been so pro, you know, or against Russia, to sit there and take it, it just shows how pathetic they are. And for him to have a negotiation without Ukraine is despicable. That'd be like if I met with the realtor about your house to sell it, that I didn't include you in it. This is the kind of bullshit that they are doing on a national stage. And it is no surprise that the European allies are nervous, because Trump is absolutely in bed with Putin.
Well, and let's not forget that they did this in Saudi Arabia, a country that murdered and assassinated Khashoggi, dismembered him, turned him into acid, and poured him down the drain. And so you have like the United States of America meeting with the worst of the worst and excluding all of our major allies, because the Trump administration is the most pro-Russian administration. And I believe they are all deeply, deeply compromised. I believe that Musk is colluding with Putin, and Trump is just a vehicle. And I think Marco Rubio at this point is as compromised as all get out. But there is one senator, Senator Wicker, who said something interesting yesterday to Manu Raju. Let's hear this clip.
Trust in these negotiations?
No. Putin is a war criminal and should be in jail for the rest of his life, if not executed.
Because Trump thinks that he wants peace.
All right. Senate Democrats, quit talking about stupid shit that nobody cares about and start getting Republican senators on board. Everything else, the Gulf of America and Trump putting his name on, his face on Mount Rushmore, all of this is bullshit. His interview last night with his boyfriend, Elon Musk, to try to provide permission structures for Fox News viewers to say, oh, it's okay that Musk is running everything. All of that is just smoke and mirrors to hide the fact that Vladimir Putin and Elon Musk are running the show, and we are going to pull out of NATO. We are going to surrender our standing. The Europeans are meeting behind our backs now, and I don't blame them.
No.
Canada is meeting behind our backs now, and I don't blame them because we're colluding with Saudi Arabia and Russia. It's jaw-dropping. So I want to walk you through a little bit of history here. I want Marco Rubio, who's the Secretary of State, has completely humiliated himself on the national stage. He was on the Senate Intelligence Committee for years, so he knows. Furthermore, I believe that Marco Rubio was hacked by the Russians in 2017. So he knows exactly what Vladimir Putin is up to and this propaganda machine and the psychological warfare campaign that has been conducted on the United States of America. Here's a video of Marco Rubio just a few years ago. Watch this clip.
Compared Donald Trump to a third world dictator yesterday in an interview with the New York Times. How so?
Well, I don't know about a dictator. I said a third world strongman. He's running for president, so no matter what, he won't be a dictator unless our republic completely crumbles, which I don't anticipate it will. But yeah, here's what happens in many countries around the world. You have a leader that emerges and basically says, don't put your faith in yourselves, don't put your faith in society, put your faith in me. I'm a strong leader, and I'm going to make things better all by myself. This is very typical. You see it in the third world. You see it a lot in Latin America for decades. It's basically the argument he's making that he single-handedly is going to turn the country around. We've never been that kind of country. We have a president. The president is an American citizen who serves for a period of time, constrained by the constitutions and the powers vested in that office. The president works for the people, not the people for the president. And if you listen to the way he describes himself and what he's going to do, he's going to single-handedly do this and do that without regard for whether it's legal or not. Look, I think people are going to have to make up their mind. I can tell you this, no matter what happens in this election, for years to come, there are many people on the right, in the media, and voters at large that are going to be having to explain and justify how they fell into this trap of supporting Donald Trump, because this is not going to end well one way or the other.
I want to play one more clip, and then I want Pumps to rip Marco. Okay, next clip, Kylie.
One is one we hope to move pretty quickly on because this involves the treatment of our respective missions. The second one will be difficult, which is the question of Ukraine and the end of that conflict. But I think that's essential in order for the third piece to even be possible, which is our ability to work together on other geopolitical matters of common interest and, of course, some pretty unique, potentially historic economic partnerships as well.
Okay, first of all, look at the body language, the voice structure, and he looks like a hostage, but that was just in the last couple of days. Pumps?
Okay, what my question is he knows better. So why is he doing it? Is he doing it because he too is in bed with Russia, or is he just completely devoted to Trump because of power? Like, those are my questions, because clearly by his own words, he knows better. He has had clarity on these issues. And just one other thing before you answer, I didn't realize his ears were so disproportionately big to the rest of his head, but go ahead.
I just want to say that I think that many Republicans have fallen prey to Russian propaganda. Federal judges, Supreme Court justices, doctors, lawyers, upper class, middle class, lower class, because Vladimir Putin has played the long game with this. Now, on Marco Rubio, who had crystal clear clarity about Russia and its provocations in Ukraine and its propaganda provocations in the United States of America, even had to step in when Vladimir Putin tried to hack Florida voting machines. He was completely briefed on all of this. He knows. So I don't know, but my deduction skills tell me he's compromised. I think he has to be compromised. I think many Americans are compromised. I think Vladimir Putin has Donald Trump by the balls. Yeah. I think that Elon Musk is Trump's full-time babysitter. And I think right now, the America first, make America great again. We're real Americans. Don't get these foreigners out of here. We are ceding our power to a Russian and a South African. Hide and watch. This is what's going on. And unless more senators like that Senator Wicker, the Republican Party has got to step up here. And the Democratic senators have to apply pressure on them and get them on the record. And journalists need to get them on the record and quit taking the bait and talking about all of this other crazy bullshit, because this is what Vladimir Putin wants. He wants the demise of Western democracies. This is what Elon Musk wants, the demise of Western democracies. Our vice president, J.D. Vance, who met with neo-Nazis in Germany and not the democratically elected government, he is completely in the pockets of Peter Thiel, who wants the demise of Western democracy. So this is a 911 house on fire. All of these national security Republicans have got to step up to the plate. Wicker, you need to go find some others. And every Senate Democrat needs to get these people on board. This is a disaster, an absolute disaster.
Well, and then you look at Tulsi Gabbard is the director of national intelligence. This thing is going from bad to worse. CIA agents, shit canned. Like this is like you said, the house is on fire.
All right, guys, stick with us for more uplifting takes later today.
Okay, welcome back. All right, so, the idea there that Trump here has basically surrendered to Putin. He surrendered the United States. I mean, think about this for a second. In World War II, we sent people off to fight fascism, in Germany, dictatorship, okay? That's what we did. A lot of people died, in a lot of different countries in that war. And now, after all the sacrifices that we made, fascism has popped up right here at home. And I don't know how many Americans really understand that this is what's happened, but if they didn't before, they must have to see it now. And I'm sure a lot of Americans are kind of wondering, what can we do? And I don't know. I really, what to say, because look, the people that we're supposed to look to, right, to help us out, haven't really been coming out there in force. And I mean, I'm not everybody, but I'm just going to say, the politicians, the Democrat politicians, haven't really come out, as hard as they should in this situation. This is the worst times that we've seen in this country here. And I feel like, when you have a regime, the Trump regime, in doing what it's doing, you have to fight back with equal force, or whatever you want to call it, okay? You can't just be wishy-washy about it, or, kind of dismissive, or even just say, there's nothing we can do. No, there is always something you can do. Republicans have always found ways to turn lemons into lemonade, okay? If Democrats can't do it, then, the Democrats these days, the modern Democrats, are really useless, okay? Because they haven't learned anything by being beaten over the head by Republican tactics. They didn't learn anything from them all these years. And, I feel, another thing is I feel kind of bad about is the idea that, Republicans keep attacking Biden for his time as president. And Democrats, despite everything they said about, oh, thank you, Joe, and all this shit, remember last year, they're very quiet. They're not defending Biden in any, I don't see these people coming out saying, oh, well, Biden did this, and that. They didn't do it back last year either when they were attacking Biden. And they're still not defending him. So all this crap that they were saying when Kamala Harris took over the campaign to run for the Democrat ticket, all this thing they were saying, thank you, Joe. Remember all that during the RNC convention here? I mean, the Democrat convention. Remember that? Okay, it didn't mean anything because it was only the people, the audience saying it, but the politicians aren't saying it. Okay, they're not defending him from all these attacks from like Fox News and other Republicans out there that are, and Trump especially, from all this crap that they're saying that, Biden let this go on, he didn't stop this, he didn't do that. He accomplished a lot of things, okay? A lot of things a lot of people don't even know about, but if you're interested, you can always look it up, okay, because it's quite a list of things. But like I said, you know, in reverse, if people don't feel like there's any impact of good things happening to them, then they don't believe it's happened. But if they sense bad things, that there's bad things out there and it affects them personally, then they're pissed. So a lot of people in this country felt like nothing was going on because it didn't directly impact them whenever Biden did something that helped a certain group of people in this country, okay? He targeted certain areas of America that needed help. It didn't mean it was going to affect the country at large. It just meant it was going to, you know, affect, you know, maybe a state or, you know, an area in a state or something like that, you know, to get a factory built, to get something running, to get jobs created, okay? Things were happening that, you know, were benefiting certain areas, but not everybody could feel or see it because the media wasn't talking about it, you know? So that's why we have all these people saying shit about Biden and nobody standing up, because they think they're right. You know, they think that Trump is right in what he's been saying about Biden. But aside from that, you know, the rest of the world is kind of really put in a bind here because they're seeing the United States cozying up to Russia here, of all people. You know, the people. The government, rather, I'm not going to say the people, the government, okay, that we were putting sanctions on because we didn't agree with the war in Ukraine, okay, and, you know, we didn't like the idea of a sovereign nation just simply getting a surprise attack from Russia. They remember how he started it? Russia was bringing all these troops to the border of Ukraine, and the rest of the world's like, what's he doing? What's he doing? What's Putin doing? And Putin was telling everybody, oh, these are just going to be exercises. Remember? He was bluffing his way so he could set up a whole fucking invasion. And once everybody was in place, all of a sudden, overnight, bam, all hell breaks loose, okay? And while the rest of the world was screaming at Putin to stop it, he was like, no, fuck you. He wasn't stopping anything. So it was Putin. And you know, if people have forgotten who started this thing, then you guys, you got a memory problem, okay? Maybe you need to play more of those games like memory, where you're flipping cards and you find the ones that match, okay? Maybe you people need to play more of that, because I think you guys are having a lot of trouble remembering things that happened like yesterday or something, you know? I just feel like there's a brain drain in this country that we're not aware of, and it's about memory. People just can't remember nothing. You know, I remember very well, okay, how that all led up and how that started off. Zelensky and them, I mean, they were aware that Putin was arming up there, and he was getting nervous. He was telling world leaders, look, you know, I think he's going to attack. And everybody was saying, oh, he's not going to attack. Remember how everybody was denying Putin was going to start anything? And then overnight, you know, it all happened. Zelensky knew what was going on. He fucking understood Putin, while the rest of the world was like, don't worry about it. Okay? No. And so here we are now, and Trump is out there saying, you know, it was Zelensky that started it. Well, I mean, that's a page right out of George Orwell's 1984. Okay, when Big Brother says it happened this way, then everybody believes it happened that way. If 2 + 2 = 5, then 2 + 2 = 5. Okay. That's what Trump is doing. And guess what? We got people in the world, in America today, who are doing it. They're believing everything Trump tells them. Okay? We used to, I mean, to think that something out of somebody's book, out of a fictional book, about you know, what kind of worries we should avoid, you know, what kind of problems we should avoid in the future, about a dictatorship and all that, you know, of course, when you write a story like that, you kind of exaggerate the points, but you're trying to make a point by making the point so conflated and so, you know, big, so it's in your face, so you can't overlook it. You say, oh, I didn't notice that. Okay, but it's become reality. It goes to show you just how fucking close we are as a human race, okay, to just simply going right back to the Stone Age. Okay, we think we're so powerful, we think we're so smart and everything, and yet we're easily manipulated by fucking people like Trump. Okay, we can believe his bullshit. We can walk down the fucking path. We can look at the sky and say it's clear as day out and it's pouring rain instead. Okay, people can be bullshitted that way. It's not science fiction. You know, people were onto something who write these kind of books. They understood people very well. Okay, and you know, given enough time, anything is possible. And this is where we are now. I mean, this is 1984 here, in a way, and it's a lot of other things. But you know, the problem is now that if Trump continues to play this game with the American people, there's going to be consequences. You know, there is going to be. It may not happen right off, but it's going to happen because you know, hey, we're just 3.5 full weeks into his presidency. Hey, it's going to get worse. If you think it's not that bad now, you ain't seen nothing yet. Okay, Project 2025 was a fucking 9,000 page goddamn manifesto. All right, there's a lot in there that he has yet to do. And that's going to impact a lot of families out there, you know, a lot of children. Okay, it's going to affect, you know, the way we live our lives, the way we've been living our lives. Okay, if you were comfortable under Biden the way you was living, okay, you know, and everything, well, guess what? You're going to have to change practically overnight to some new ways of living that you've never were taught how to do before. For some of you, it's going to mean giving up, you know, selling your soul practically, I think, in order to make ends meet. And I'm not even going to explain what I mean by that, but I think maybe some of you understand what I'm getting at. That, you know, in order to survive in Trump's world, people are going to have to give in to things that they never thought they'd do. Okay, some people, it's going to mean breaking the law. For others, it's going to mean, you know, destroying their dignity in order to get ahead in some way or other, to, you know, in order to survive. And you know, I'm not sure what that's going to mean for the country at large, because I'll tell you, when you bring a country to its knees the way Trump is doing right now, okay, and you know, whip people into, you know, obeying you for what, you know, whatever he says, okay, whatever he says to people, obey, okay. When you whip people into doing shit like that, you set up this hopelessness, you set up fear, you set up a lack of compassion for other people, and it's so hard to get that back. Even if Trump died tomorrow, let's say, you know, okay, and we got a Democrat president, or Kamala gets put back in there or something, damn, you know what it's just hypothetical. It's going to take her all the 4 years just to undo the last 3.5 weeks. Okay? Seriously, you think I'm lying? No, I'm not lying. Because why? It isn't just Trump. It's all the fucking fools that follow Trump that are going to make a fuss. And I'll tell you, they're going to, if that ever happened, okay, you know, MAGA would be out on the streets vandalizing, destroying, whatever the hell they want to do. Okay? It would be chaos out there from all those assholes that voted for Trump. All right, that's what you'd get in return. So that's what I'm saying. By the time the 4 years is over, if Trump decides he wants to leave office, or if he's not dead, you know, from old age, okay, after that 4 years, okay, I don't care who it is that becomes president after him. Things won't change overnight. Our trust in the world has been damaged, probably for good. You know, I don't think the rest of the world's ever going to look to the United States to help them do anything, because it's like, well, who's the president right now, and how long have we got till that son of a bitch is gone, you know, and somebody else takes their place. You know, if we make any deals with them, it's going to last for what? How long is he going to be president, or how long is she going to be president? You know, who wants to deal with a country like that that's wishy-washy? You see, 1 minute we're on the side of Ukraine, the next now we're against them. Okay? We're two-faced. You can't trust anybody that's two-faced, ever. You know? That's why, you know, I was telling people, you know, that I was talking to online people that were in Ukraine during all the shit, and I was telling them about the, you know, troubles here at home and how the government could switch overnight practically, and they could be turned against them. But they were saying I was exaggerating, and you know, Americans always complain. They got everything in the world, but they still complain. Now they're going to find out. You know, what I was telling these people wasn't bullshit. You know, I warned them. I said, you know, there is the possibility Trump could come back and be president. And if he does, you guys are going to be on the defensive against us as well. You see, they couldn't believe that. They thought we were backing him because at the time we were. But now, I don't think the United States, I don't think Trump is even interested in what Zelensky has to say about anything. It's all about Trump and Putin. Trump and Putin. Okay? As far as I'm concerned, it's Putin's only. Putin owns the United States. They own us now. Okay? They got Trump. I don't know how he's got Trump, but Trump is kissing his ass, kissing Putin's ring. It's all over. Putin is a relic of the Cold War, and they lost. He's back as a leader, and guess what? He's getting revenge, and he just got it the best way that imaginable. He got it by dragging the United States into some fiasco in Ukraine, okay, and he's turning it around on us, and now we're going to be siding with him to fight to do his dirty work. I know what's going to happen, okay? Before you know it, we're going to be sending troops into Ukraine because Zelensky's not going to back down, no matter what kind of deal Putin and Trump create. We're going to be putting boots on the ground in Ukraine, and we're going to be fighting the very people that we all swore we'd protect. Okay, and when that happens, people, the rest of the world, NATO, all of them, they're going to say, fuck the United States. You guys are on your own, period. Okay, they're already getting to that point now. Okay, they're already working about building up their military, helping each other out to, you know, create weapons and shit like that, and the United States ain't part of it. They just had a big meeting in Paris where, you know, the United States wasn't invited to that. First time ever, one of the key members of NATO wasn't even invited to it. When would something like that ever happen? Is when, hey, they see the United States as turning into a fucking dictatorship. Guess what? You're not part of the fucking regime, and you're not part of the NATO peace force. That's it. It happens just that fast. And Trump, well, he's got no love for NATO. I don't know why. Because nothing he ever did in the past had anything to do with NATO. So I don't know why he hates NATO, okay? But he does, and you know, he seems to hate anything that NATO does, even humanitarian wise. But he's got this preconception about NATO that, you know, probably came from his old man, okay? Because I've heard people, older people in my younger years, saying shit about things about NATO, and I always wondered why. You know, what the hell did NATO do wrong or something? You know, I just always got that from the older generation that NATO is just a joke, okay? But the fact is, you know, NATO was always, you know, allied with us, and we always, during the 80s, we did a lot of humanitarian stuff together. You know, Ethiopia and all those, and some of them hotbed nations there where there was civil war. Okay, NATO and the United States worked together hand in hand to help those areas out. But it didn't matter to certain people. NATO was just a bad thing. Well, now they got their way. Now the United States is going to be excluded, you know, from NATO at some point down the road. It probably won't be that, maybe next week, for Christ's sake. For the way things are going now, it could be next week. But that's, we're going to be left, you know, without allies. And people here are arrogant enough to say, well, we don't need no fucking allies. Okay, well, fine. All right, but when things happen, you know, in this country, and we could use help, they're not gonna be obligated to help us for do a damn thing. And it's going to be like FEMA. When a disaster happens in part of this country and there's no more FEMA, you know, they're just going to tell people, well, go to your church. Let the church deal with it, you know. Okay, yeah. These are the same churches, by the way, who actually helped to get Trump put in the office, and now, okay, you know that. I mean, like I said, it's laughable, but it's sad at the same time and frightening too. Because look, you got people, innocent people, who are starting off in life. They're young, and and the chances they thought they had, like a year ago, they don't have now. College is a dream that many of them will never be able to have. And some of these people might be smart enough to be in college, but they don't have the money to go. And if they had the money, they, you know, hey, they would go, and there would be no problem, right? But colleges are too expensive. You know, it's more a club for the wealthy, you know. And you see how the wealthy treat college education. It's a game. It's just a fucking game. Whether they succeed at college or not, they blow the money, and they don't even use the degrees that they get, a lot of them, okay? But, you know, poor people, when they go to college, they take the courses that are going to help them in the career that they've already chosen. Rich people don't have to worry about that, okay? They can take all kinds of academic classes that don't mean anything once they get their degrees, and they won't use those degrees, okay? That's the problem. But we're going to have a country full of, you know, idiots, basically, because you got the wealthy who have less education and they're not using it, and you got the poor people who have the potential to have a good education, but they can't get it. So at the end, we're all at the same level. We're all dummies, you know. Okay, so you know, like I said, it's a bad fucking setup. I can't see anything good coming out of this. And you know, what the hip girls they're talking about, I mean, that's pretty much what we're at. Okay, it's sad. There's not a whole lot of hope there. You know, seeing Trump and Putin walking hand in hand, you know, with First Lady Musk. Okay, what do we got here? This is not the America that, you know, I served when I was in the military. It's not the America that many of you people out there, veterans, served when you was in doing your job, your active duty. Okay, it's not the same country. You took an oath to a country that no longer exists now. It's gone. And it happened, you know, I'm not going to say quietly, because, hey, Democrats knew this was coming, so we warned everybody, but it happened anyway. So it happened. You know, the United States is gone. You know, celebrating President's Day. Why? That's an American holiday. We don't have that anymore, okay? The United States is gone. Trump is not an American president. He's the first dictatorship we've had in this country. And that's basically the end of America. When you got a dictatorship, you don't have an America, because America stands for democracy. There is no democracy anymore now. Congress might as well shut their doors. Senate, same thing, shut your doors. The justice system, same thing. You know, they're all useless institutions now. We're going to find out just how little they can do anymore now. Okay? Because, hey, if a judge tells Trump, you got to do this, and you don't do it, and he doesn't follow through with a contempt or have him, or, you know, then what the hell's the point? You people are getting paid to sit on your ass and do nothing. If you're not going to enforce the rules that are there, then the rules mean nothing. You might as well burn the Constitution, because it's just a piece of paper now. It means nothing. You know, that's why I'm saying America's dead. It's gone. All right? I'm sorry that, you know, if you don't agree with that, but it will come to you in time that the things that you thought that were there, it's going to affect you. You know, like these federal departments that are closing up thanks to him. Okay, one of these days you're going to need that, and it's not going to be there when you need it. That's when it's going to start to hit you, because you're going to be angry, and you're going to want to know why these things are happening. And you're going to have to look back to these days right now, and you're going to say, you know what, he was right. You know, Trump was out there cutting the legs off from under the government, and now we need it, and it ain't there, because, hey, all those things are gone. FEMA's gone, this is gone, that's gone. All these things are gone now. So there is no United States government. The government is there basically to help out the rich. You know, and the proof of that is who's sitting in the White House right now. All right, so that's it for today, and I hope everybody has a great rest of the week. So subscribe, comment, and share. Keep your ears open for health-related matters, and treat each other well out there. You'll have to look to each other for help when bad times happen, because Trump is going to make sure that there is no help for you when you need that help. And I think, you know, I'm talking about the veterans out there, where, you know, the crisis line out there, you know, it's not going to be there for you. So you'll have to figure out another way to get help when you need it. All right, so I'll talk to everybody later, so take care. Bye-bye.